one of the players that I wonder if he will escape for the second year in a row is Buffalo wide receiver Gabriel Davis. There was a lot of chatter last year about whether the Buffalo Bills would add a significant wide receiver piece in the draft for 2022. They didn't really. They drafted Khalil Shakir and they signed Jamison Crowder. Like there wasn't a lot of addressing. The ramp was laid for Gabriel Davis to take off, and he didn't really take off. So you have to wonder if the confidence has been shaken in Buffalo, or if they're just going to roll the dice yet again with this. What was it? A fourth round? He was a late fourth round draft pick a few years ago. He's a big body down the field wide receiver, but you have to wonder if Buffalo is more interested in maybe like a Jordan Addison type, or I don't know, Quentin Johnston type that might be able to be a difference maker alongside Von Diggs.
Yeah, we've obviously seen Gabriel Davis just take over games, but for the most part, he was going up against a terrible cornerback when that happened, and so you have to factor that in there. I don't see him getting steamed up like this past year, 2022, at the end of August and into September. He basically got steamed up into the fourth round. And
third round. I have receipts of people who shared draft boards with me. I was like, I took Gabriel Davis in round 3, dude. Thanks for paying the rake.
Yes, yeah, exactly. I don't see him getting steamed up to that point, because where he's going right now is about where he was going, if I recall, last year at about this time, or at least after the draft. He was going in around the 9th round, something like that. And so I think Buffalo is going to do something wide receiver for sure, which means that you're going to have somebody running interference for Gabe Davis. And the way I look at Davis is he's more of probably a floor. I hate to say a floor play because a guy can score from anywhere, but he really is. When you're taking him in the 8th or 9th round, you're not. I'd rather go for somebody who I think can give me the performance of a 3rd round wide receiver, and I don't think Gabe Davis can get there. What Davis is going to do is he's going to say, I'm not going to give you the performance of a 17th round wide receiver. Whereas that guy that I take instead of Gabe Davis, he might give me a 3rd round wide receiver, he might give me a 17th round wide receiver. So he's just a safer play in that way, but he's also in. This is the opposite of what a lot of people say. Oh, he's great for best ball. I don't really think he's all that great for best ball because he just doesn't. I don't think he has that huge ceiling in him.
Yeah, I mean he was only wide receiver 24 last year in rate of top 5 weeks, and then he was wide receiver 36 in rate of flex weeks. And so you see a nice little floor there, as you mentioned, and the ceiling is propped up, I think, less by his talent and more by the fact that Josh Allen is the quarterback and willing to throw the ball down the field. So he's easily replaceable in this draft. That's one player that I am monitoring in my mock draft, which you can find on bestballfantasy.com. You can check out my 1.0 version that I posted today. And I have Quentin Johnston at 27 going to the Buffalo Bills. And I think that would be a nice little ad. As I mentioned, maybe it's Jordan Addison, maybe it's another player, but I think that would be a nice little pickup for the Buffalo Bills at the end of the first round. And I think that'll really hurt Gabriel Davis's fantasy value. I don't think he'll be a 9th round value anymore. I think he'll drop maybe to the 11th round, because if you're a big body wide receiver who goes deep, you're occasionally going to have a big spike week. So he can't be completely ignored in best ball if he's attached to Josh Allen, but you could see his fantasy upside really being impacted here.
And Quentin Johnson would be about the worst of all the rookie wide receivers who could show up there as far as Gabe Davis goes, in my opinion, because basically he would be replacing Davis rather than somebody like a Jordan Addison who's more likely to add to him. If they get that good slot receiver, you're still going to see Gabe Davis on the field a lot. Whereas if you get Quentin Johnson on there, at whatever point Quentin Johnson starts earning a lot of reps, they're more likely to come at Gabe Davis's expense. They can always throw Diggs in the slot too, sure, but I just see that as being worse for Gabe if they get Quentin Johnson there than like a Jordan Addison type.